In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a meeting minutes template in Word, just like this one. Without wasting further time, let's get started with the step-by-step tutorial. Having opened Word, the first thing I do is enter the name of my company. So this is going to be a fictitious name. So I'll call it Diku Pages Web. Hit enter. Next, I enter the title of the document I am creating. In this case, it's going to be board meeting minutes. I hit enter. The next thing I'm going to do is divide my meeting minutes into different parts, and the first part is going to be meeting details. Hit enter. For this section, I'm going to insert a table. To do that, I go over to Insert. Next, I click on Table, and I go ahead and click on Insert Table. In the Insert dialog box, I enter the number of columns and rows I want. Number of columns is going to be 5. The number of rows is going to be 7. Then I go ahead and click on OK to insert my table. In the first cell, I enter team name. I can add column. Next is meeting date, meeting time, venue. Next, I have attendees, followed by absentees. And finally, I have minutes taker. Let me quickly enter some information to fill out the space right here. Alright, I've entered my text. Next, I come out from the table. I hit enter. Then I go ahead and create my second section, which is going to be agenda details. Hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and use a table for that. So I go over to Insert, click on Table. From here, I can just hover on these cells to insert the number of columns and rows I want. For this, I need 1 column. And I'm going to insert 3 rows. So the first agenda is going to be to discuss the creation of a new website for the new regional branch. The next agenda will be to discuss the various financing options for the project, something like that. It should be noted that you can enter as many agendas as you want. So if this is a template you've created, maybe in future you need more than 3 rows, you can easily add them up. So if I click at the end of the last cell, then I press the tab key on the keyboard, a new row will be added, as you can see. But I don't need them, so I'll just go ahead and undo them to take them back. So I'm done with the second section. Next, I go over to the final section, hit enter, which is going to be meeting minutes. That is the main business of the meeting. For this one as well, I'm going to insert a table. So I go over to Insert, and I click on Table, and I'm going to go ahead and insert 2 columns, maybe 4 rows. It doesn't really matter, you can insert as many as you want. The first cell is going to be action, and the second cell to the right is going to be by. Alright, so this is where you enter the main action of the meeting, and this is where you enter the name of the person who suggested the idea or who gave out the idea. For this, I want to reduce the width of this particular column, so I hover on the vertical line here so that I get these two headed arrows. I move it to the right like this. So now I'm done with inserting all the necessary sections I need. The next thing I want to do is start formatting the entire work, and I'm going to start from the top. So what I do is highlight the name of the company, then I go over to home and make sure it is centered. I'm going to make it bold, and I increase the size from 11 to 14. Next, I select the title Board Meeting Minutes. I make sure it is centered. I make it bold. I increase the size to 20, and I'm going to change the case from lowercase to uppercase. Next, I select this title. I will make it bold. I change the case to uppercase. Next, I go over to shading. Under the paragraph group, I drop down the arrow and I choose black. I can do the same thing to the rest of the titles at once just by selecting them. So I select the first one, holding down the Control key on the keyboard. I select the second one just by clicking beside it. I release the Control key, then I make it bold. I change the case to uppercase, and I'm going to apply a black shading. Perfect. Next, I select the first table. Upon hover, you see these 4 headed arrows. Just go ahead and click on it, and the entire table will be selected. Next, I go over to Layout and the Table Tools. First, I increase the height of the rows like this. It is set to 0.3 inches. And the alignment, I choose Align Left Center. Next, I'm going to go ahead and select everything in the first column. Then I go over to Home. I make it bold. Going down, I do the same thing right here. I make sure this table is selected. I go over to Layout and the Table Tools. I increase the height to 0.3 inches. And I go ahead and choose Align Center Left. I do the same thing here. I make sure it is selected by clicking on the 4 headed arrows. And the Layout, I increase the height to 0.3 inches and I select Align Center Left. Next, I highlight the top row. Then I go ahead and make it bold. Awesome. Maybe I want to add some spacing in between the sections. So I click in here, I hit enter. Here, I hit enter. Perfect. And now I am done with my meeting minutes template. Now, if you want to learn how to save your document as a template so that you can use it over and over again, make sure you watch the first video on top. And if you need a different style for your meeting minutes template, make sure you check the playlist on your screen. Keep watching and I'll see you in the next video.